Okay, just want to express my frustrations with the Pentagon and the Biden administration in regard to Afghanistan. I've already reported in another video previous that about the turmoil in Afghanistan, about Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, which is about to fall. It has 6 million people in it. With a Western setup, their women can become doctors and lawyers and other kinds of professionals. They have free reign on their choices and their education and their marriages. Now the Taliban is going to come in and prevent and stop any practicing professionals who are women from doing their jobs, because that is not for them. It is only for men. So any woman in a professional capacity beyond their high school education will be canceled. The canceled culture. Women and young children, teenagers, will not be able to attend school. School is not for women, because women are to be treated as cattle, like in the Old Testament. And Jesus said, oh, we're not getting into that. Just like the Old Testament, women are treated as cattle. They are bought and sold and married off, and they have no choices. As a matter of fact, as the Taliban has taken over 60% of the country and many of the major cities already, they're shooting women in the face. They're taking women as brides as young as 12 or younger. Oh yeah, you know that fine age in between, say, 12 and 14 for boys and girls. The tweens, oh yeah, they're prized for the Taliban. And even younger. So, as they've been moving along, there's been atrocities and killings. No accountability for anything, because there cannot be. It's Taliban. It's a theocracy. Women are cattle. Now, imagining getting into a Western city. Yes, Western, because we were there 20 years ago. It's been 20 years since we arrived. Children who are 1 are now 20 and in uniform for the government, saying, we will defend Kabul. No. They would take it over as they have done this is a reckoning, a time in our history of a civil war where we fought for independence from the Taliban. Sadly, no, because all this was preordained about 6 months ago when Biden administration gave a departure date. That is nothing more than a flint on a bomb, a signal for the Taliban to roughshod over the entire land and take over the country. And now we're saying, oh, please don't destroy our embassy. We're moving people out as fast as we can. Just the other day, 2 days ago, the Pentagon gave a briefing. Some doofus, I forget his name, was up there, and he was asked questions, and his answers were, we still continue to embrace the idea that the Afghan government soldiers, 350,000 on paper, but really it's like 250,000, will be able to push back on the Taliban and defeat them and save the capital. They said that 2 days ago. It was a bullshit lie. He knew it. Now today, it's like Saigon, get everybody out. So Biden's moving in 6,000 troops to facilitate the withdrawal. Now the Taliban, they're going to stay away from the embassy, but they're going to continue on to Kabul because they don't want to fight 2 deployments of Marines and 1 of the Army to make up that 6,000 and 1,000 already there. They're not going to put up, no. Plus, we're putting in reserves and stuff like that. All this for the evacuation. Now, there's a breadth of real estate around Kabul. There's wide open areas. All we have to do is put 15, 20,000 troops around it with tanks and air support and everything else, and we can save Kabul, a Western city that was built in 20 years, with children who are 20, 21 years old, who have only known U.S. soldiers protecting their homeland. And they will not be able to defend them. Those who are saying we are going to defend are going to die. It's over. You have mayors of cities all over the place. They call them by different names and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. They're still cities, and they're mayors. They show up, they hand the keys to the city to the Taliban, say, we don't want to fight. The Taliban escort them out of the city. They take over. They take wives. They abuse children. And boys, too. Oh, they're big on that. Big on homosexuality. On young, even the preteens. It's stupid. It's stupid crazy over there. The Afghan generals and senior ups are also, for the Afghan government, are also popular for that too, taking young boys as their concubines. It's a sick thing. So now they have another conference today, and basically they were asked about 5 or 6 questions, and we were surprised on how fast they moved. What, that happened in one day? What about 6 weeks ago when you anticipated it would be 6 months? What about 3 months ago when you anticipated it would be 6 months? This is foreordained to happen because the troops have not been fed by the U.S. military for 3 months. So that fell upon the logistical sources of the Afghan government. Well, the soldiers were not getting 3 square meals a day. No. They were not getting ammo supplies. What they have is whatever's on the cartridge belt. No ammo. Our contractors left. They can't facilitate the maintenance of attack helicopters or attack jets anymore. That's gone. Everything grounded. The things that are flying, no. That's American bullshit, not Afghan. It's a freaking lie what they're doing here. They haven't been fed in 3 months properly. They're subsisting on 1 meal a day. They're hungry. They haven't been paid in 3 months. These people have families. Why do they have families? Because there have been 20 years of relative peace because of the Americans have been there. They've learned to become happy in what it is to elect governments and build big cities, and men and women are equal as far as the opportunities that lay before them, and education, and hey, eat, drink, and be merry. It's all gone. All gone now. So no pay for 3 months, no food for 3 months, and the government has not been facilitating ammo. Why? Because it's the American Treasury. 3 months ago, when we decided to pull out, we stopped supplying ammo, food, and paying their soldiers. It was coming out of our Treasury, not the Afghan government's. We pay them, sure, and they facilitate it, but that stopped. That came from us. It's over. Some of the questions in today's Pentagon briefing was, do we have any plans to save Kabul? Basically, his answer wasn't this, but if you read between the lines and you know what you know, it was this. No, obviously our estimates were wrong in thinking it would take 6 months for the Taliban to take over the country. No, it wasn't wrong. You knew when you decided to pull out, it was estimated that it would fall within 6 months. Yeah, that's for public consumption. We continue to engage in the process for peace talks and to save face. We will provide support in missiles and warplanes from offshore, over the horizon. Well, tell me, Mr. Pentagon, who are going to be your spotters? You going to send drones up to do the spotting? Okay, where? In Kabul? 6 million people? Where are you going to drop those missiles? You can't. Now the Taliban are in the city. You have to get them out in the open. So all this talk about support from, offshore, from submarines and ships and what? You're gonna fire up a Marine Harrier to go on an attack mission? No. The Taliban are integrated into the city now. Where are you going to drop them? You're so full of bullshit. We will continue to support in financing the war effort. But as you know, the Afghan army has not been paid since we decided to leave 3 months ago. And we discontinued feeding the army and providing material support for aircraft maintenance for the Afghan Air Force. Yeah. The Taliban ran across some place and took it over real quick because everybody just melted away. Security forces, warlord security forces, warlord, hoorah. No, they left. They didn't want to put up with this. They didn't want to die. There's nobody to defend any city. All this talk about these militias, they call them warlords there. We call them militias. Stand up and defend your ground. They melt away or they change sides. Why? Because they're disillusioned. They haven't paid in 3 months. No ammo, no food. Well, that's not very encouraging to sustain a civil war for your country, is it? There you go. As far as the Air Force is concerned, the Taliban roll up and they see a helicopter there and they start checking it out and everything else. Wow, I wonder if we can use this. Well, no, really you can't because it has no propeller blades. No rotor blades. Why? Because the maintenance stopped. Yeah, they took them off for maintenance and everything else or to replace them, but nobody knows how to do that because we paid the contractors and the contractors skittled out. They're gone. There is nobody providing upkeep maintenance for attack aircraft or helicopters. No. Not happening. So all this bullshit, we will continue material and financial support. For what? There's nobody there. There's nobody there to take care of the aircraft. What are you going to do? Send the Afghans to a school on basic electronics? What the frick? Question 2. With the expedited evacuation going on, is that going to include Afghan families? Translation to what he said. Didn't say these words, but I'm listening and know what I know. I translated. Okay? He says, no, we are airlifting the 5,000 embassy and airport personnel. And many of the official translators and their families who have applied for the visas. You don't apply, you don't go. Got to be official. So they got like 5,000 plus people at the airport and the embassy, to include a whole thousands more on translators and their families. That's who we're evacuating. As far as the Afghan population, no. Hell, they're stuck. They're stuck to become cattle. And the young men, hey, you adhere to the theocracy of the Taliban or we shoot you in the head in front of everybody to set the example. That's what we're going back to. Yep. All we have to do is put a huge force around 6 million around Kabul, the most modern city in Afghanistan in history in that country. It's not a theocracy. It's going to turn into one. And half the population will become slaves to men who do not allow women to go to school. And they will, most of them, have their clitorises cut off. Yeah, no kidding. Shocking, isn't it? That's who they are. Is this a Saigon scenario? Like in Vietnam, we left real quick. It was a cluster. Well, his answer was, that is for historians to decide, and we will not speak to that. Are you going to destroy the attack aircraft and helicopters and associated armament material before evacuating? Well, what he says is, well, that's a very big concern, and we will continue to support blah, blah. He didn't say anything. He just repeated a lot of words that don't mean anything, saying there's no substance. He doesn't answer the question. But here's a translation to the question of, are we going to, because we're leaving. As they go across the country, they're picking up all kinds of supplies. for the attack. We left it there for the Afghan government. How do you feel about the Taliban picking up on tactical Humvees and more fighting supplies and ammo as they take over already 75% of the country since the administration announced a departure date? You never announce a date. Like Trump wanted to leave too, right? No, this is not Trump's idea. He never would have done it this way. The plan was this. It was this. Number one, you don't give a date. Number two, it's in phases. You don't live up to the phase, boom, we're still there. Trump was in charge. None of this would have happened because it's in phases. You don't, no. Everything is done sequentially. You don't move into the next step until compliance is garnered before you move on. If it's not, troops stay. And then we go back to pounding you with bombs. So, in the question about the, are we going to destroy equipment and stuff, he says, we are concerned. We are concerned. But we remain focused, and he kept going back to this, but we remain focused on peace talks and evacuating our personnel. Wait a minute. Peace talks? No, everybody knows peace talks have failed and they're not going on anywhere. This is the safe phase. So, in conclusion to this whole cluster, what happened was you had Afghans growing up from they were born when we showed up there. Okay? And all they know is an American presence. They're 20, 21 years old. They got a wonderful capital, and the countrysides and all the other province cities used to be pretty much like the capital. Modern, as well as it could be. Women had rights. They weren't cattle. And when I say cattle, I mean that literally. Literally. Just as you own a cow. And what kind of rights do you have over a cow? You can shoot a cow in the head to harvest its meat. That's what you can do with a female. If she blasphemes you or disrespects you, you can sell her. This is old Bible stuff. This is Old Testament stuff. Okay? And nobody comes unto the Lord except through me, said Jesus Christ. And who is the Lord? Well, the Lord is the Old Testament. And that's what they want to go back to. So it's a very sad situation, and this administration has blown it. This whole thing about, okay, we'll evacuate. It's time to come home, but the agreement is we'll do it in phases when you live up to your side of the bargain incrementally. That was thrown out of the water. So-called president just announced the date, we're gone. And what date did he choose? September 11th. As to give a meaning, politics. What do you think happened on September 11th? It's a sad situation. And we dropped the ball. Americans dropped the ball for Afghanistan. We built it up. We rebuilt it. We made a country. And these 20 and 21-year-olds who've known nothing. Well, hell. Yeah, break up the 30-year-olds old. 30-year-old. They were 10. They were 8. They were 12. That's all they know is Americans over there protecting them against a theocracy. The theocracy of the Taliban on this extreme Muslim bullshit is a virus on this planet that needs to be eradicated and decimated and burned up. They're already trying to have their influence all over Africa. Yeah, of all places. Well, hey, the Catholic Church can do it. We can go and do it too. Sad state of affairs. This is your Biden administration. Thank you, zombies. Appreciate it. Anyway.